Well, of course, it is Cyber Monday. We got Black Friday, of course, in the books. And shoppers spent a record $9.8 billion in U.S. online sales. That is up 7.5% from last year. And I'm sure we're going to see something today about how that means Bidenomics is working and everything is hunky-dory with the economy. Steve Moore is an economic advisor to Donald Trump. He was when he was in the White House. He still is doing that today. Steve, what do you think the storylines are going to be coming out of that Black Friday shopping news?
Well, good morning, Pete. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Well, did you ever see the movie Wayne's World?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course. Classic.
Remember the famous line from that, "Party on, Wayne"? That's what we're doing. We're partying on. And at some point, these bills are going to come due. It's like, when I go out sometimes on a Saturday night and have a little too much to drink and start, dancing on the tables, I can barely get out of bed in the morning. And I just think that's a little bit what's going on here. We're, as consumers, we're racking up record amounts of debt on our credit cards. It's $1.04 trillion now. That's trillion with a T. The federal government is borrowing $2 trillion a year. And the debts just keep mounting up. And I hope I'm wrong on this, but I just don't think that story has a happy ending. Do you?
I don't. We are addicted to consumerism. And, our guy Dave Ramsey, who's on this radio station, he's going to have a lot of new listeners here in the not-too-distant future because of the record amount of credit card debt that we're racking up in this country. And I can't figure out why people are doing it if they're just saying, hey, you know what? Someone will take care of the bill. Joe will bail it out. I don't know what the mindset is.
You know what? I was just thinking the same thing that, did you know the Biden administration, even though the Supreme Court said he couldn't do it and Congress never authorized it, and, I look at the Constitution, it's Congress who has the authority to spend money, not the president. They've spent over $150 billion, in my opinion, illegally, for, quote, forgiving, I'm using air quotes when I use that word, of student loan debt. So I think a lot of people are like, I can just borrow and borrow and borrow, and I don't know if I can make my mortgage payment this month. Do you think the federal government might bail me out?
Well, yeah, it seems like it's in the best interest. I say this tongue in cheek, but you're right. Where does it end when it's all about getting breathing room? That's what we're told for the American people. Well, hell, who's paying the mortgage? Who's making the car payment? Who's making the credit card payment? We need some breathing room out here on Main Street, Steve. It's a ridiculous argument, but it's one that I could see people making before long.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I'm not a financial advisor, but I will tell people this, that, if you're going to borrow, the worst way to borrow is to borrow on your credit card, right? Because they're going to charge you, in some cases, 25 to 30% interest rates on that. So you're just digging yourself into a deeper and deeper hole when you do that. You go to a bank and you get a loan, you're going to pay maybe 6% interest. You're paying 30% interest on the credit card. You almost better to go to Guido, the loan shark, get the money from the credit card companies. And by the way, that's the way the credit card companies make their money. Is they want you to rack up the debt and then pay interest, and then you're like a tiger chasing its tail. The more you pay, you spend, the more your debt goes up, and you're just paying the interest on the debt, not even reducing your overall liability. So look, I hope I'm wrong on this, but it just doesn't feel like this is a sturdy economy. It feels like there are termites eating away in the basement, and we're all sitting up, on the second floor, just feeling like everything's, as you said, hunky-dory. My mom used to always use that expression.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like it is. We got to get back to work. We still have too many people who are not working, collecting government benefits. And count me as worried.
Steve Moore, economic advisor to Donald Trump. He did it when he was in the White House. He's doing it now as well. A lot of these polls are showing, Steve, younger voters in particular, 18 to 34-year-olds, trending away from Joe Biden. He won him by 20-some-odd points in 2020, and most polls are showing Biden up only single digits for 18 to 34-year-olds. I assume Donald Trump knows that. I assume he knows a large part of that is because of the economic hurt young people are feeling. Have you had that conversation? How would you advise him on how to actually make sure those younger voters do come out in his favor if he ultimately is the nominee?
Well, Biden's trying to buy the votes of these young voters with the student loan forgiveness, right? He's paying their bills. So, oh gosh, what a great president he is. So I think Trump has to basically go back and say, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Are those opportunities there for you that were, now these young people really, a lot of them are just entering the workforce. But I think the more exciting thing, if you're a Trump guy like I am, is what's happening with minority voters. I don't know if you've been watching this, but Trump is doing better with black. Now Republicans do terrible with black voters, but Trump is actually up to like 16%, which is a big improvement. Usually the Republicans are at 10 to 12%, and then Hispanic voters love Trump.
Yeah,
he's going to win. I'm going to make a prediction to you. I think Trump is going to win a majority of the Hispanic vote for the first time in history for Republicans. And you know why? I think it's because they do look at how well they did under the Trump years, where we had record low poverty rates, record low unemployment, and record high median family income. So we will see. There's still a year to go in this race, but I think right now most of the polls have Trump either tied or with a slight lead over Biden.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting these next 11, 12 months. Now, I do want to also ask you about this. I saw the story yesterday. Disney is quietly admitting that their ESG, environmental social governance activism, is hurting the company, has cost them money and shareholders. That's in this report, in the annual SEC report. They essentially admit as much, that their political and social agenda is costing the company and shareholders. Is corporate America learning a lesson? Are they learning a lesson at corporate America?
Well, I think it might be a little premature to say that, but they should be.
Yeah.
And, I just wrote about this in our hotline this morning, which you'll get probably about an hour. And what's going on is, just so people understand the background here, Disney, I grew up with Disney. I remember, I'm a little older than you are, but we'd sit around the TV on Sunday nights and watch, Wonderful World of Disney and all the wonderful, wholesome, pro-family, politically content-free, movies and the theme park and stuff. And now it's gone completely woke, and it's just all this politically correct stuff, and they've gone political. And people are turned off by that. So Disney's stock over the last 5 years, since they started this kind of woke crusade, is down 19%. Well, the Dow Jones over that same period is up 40%. So it is woefully underperformed. And do I think that all this DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, and all the, climate change stuff, I think it really has had an impact. I don't regard Disney the way I used to. I'm turned off by Disney. You watch their movies now; they're all politically correct. So I think the answer is yes, they are paying a high price for this, and people have rebelled. And the way they rebel against this is they just turn it off.
Yeah. And nowadays, even if you put an old movie on, like The Jungle Book on Disney Plus, since I have two little kids, they give you this big preamble about how there may be cultural appropriation in this movie. It's crazy.
Oh, it just drives me crazy. It's really interesting because John Lovitz, he was on Saturday Night Live for 5 years and became a superstar. And very funny guy. He just gave an interview and he said, "There's nothing funny on TV anymore.
Yeah.
You can't be." Think about it. Is anything funny? Do you ever try to listen to the late night, comedies on TV? They're not funny.
Mm-hmm.
It's all political statements. I grew up with Johnny Carson and David Letterman, and they would spoof both parties, both candidates. But you don't see that anymore. It's moralizing and putting their political views right in front of the camera, and people are sick of that. I am. I don't watch that stuff anymore. Do you?
No, not at all. We had more laughs here in the last 10 minutes than you'll get on Saturday Night Live.
Exactly. You want a good comedy routine, you listen to Mundo in the morning.
There you go. Steve Moore. Steve, we love having you on. Have a great week, and hope you had a great Thanksgiving.
By the way, let me just say this. It is true. Our side is more fun. They're not fun anymore.
No,
they're not funny anymore. They're not fun anymore. They're just grimacing all the time, and they think they don't know. They barely celebrate Thanksgiving like you and I did, right?
No, I know. They're. You're absolutely right. It's so true because they are afraid they're going to offend everyone and anyone if they open their mouths and tell a joke, and it's really sad. Oh, gosh. Hey, Steve, have a great week. We love having you.
Have a great weekend. Okay, take care.
All right, that is Steve Moore on KCMO, economic advisor to Donald Trump when he was in the White House, and continuing on in that role as well.